Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TC Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be getting back into the Katsu matchup guide series. A little while back, we did Uziri, Icelander, and Lexi. And now I'm going to start back in today with Bravo, kind of give you some general rules and tips to help you better be prepared into the matchup and hopefully make what normally is this very difficult matchup for Katsu a little bit better and at least have a little bit more agency into it and kind of play for your out. So we'll get right into it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Feel free to check out my other videos. I pretty much do daily content here right now, if not every other day, coming out anywhere from like 20 to 25 videos a month right now. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Again, I normally don't hit like sub goals or like push it, but for this, we're close to 3K subs. I'm trying to get it by the end of the year. So if you're not subbed and you feel so inclined to, definitely feel like doing it. It'd be really appreciated. But yeah, we'll get right into the video. We're going to talk about Bravo today. Now, before I get into Bravo, I want to say something that's going to sound like a cop-out, but it's really not meant to be. Bravo is the most nuanced and situational hero. There are certain things you can do to make it better, but overall, in my opinion, it's very hand-to-hand. Now, if you go a couple of videos back on my channel, if you want to watch that first, definitely go ahead and do it. I did a hour-long analysis video on my Bravo matchup on stream at the Calling Dallas. I was able to beat Cody Williams from Team Runaways in a very close match, insanely close, really good player. It was really fun though, and really I used some of the principles I'm going to be telling you today, but I also did one thing, and the key thing with Bravo is no matter how good you're into it or how well you think you're playing, you have to, what a lot of people call play for your outs, right? So playing for your outs means you're giving yourself the opportunity to at some point turn the key and win the game, or at least put the game in your favor, right? So for example, with Bravo, playing for your outs might be a little bit more defensive, right? Push damage when you can in order to force them to interact with you. Do these little things that by themselves may not seem that important, but when you stack them all together, you're playing for your outs. You're being able to try to win the game, right? You can't just influence whatever you want on Bravo. It doesn't work that way. The key thing with Bravo, and one of the biggest things that's hard about Bravo, as you can see right here, is his attacks. Bravo is an extremely disruptive character for you as a Katsu. He obviously has the big ticket ones like Starstruck and Crippling Crush, as well as Spinal Crush, which isn't pictured on here, that can just time walk you, right? Crippling Crush makes you get rid of two cards from your hand at random. Starstruck can literally say you can't attack next turn. Spinal Crush gets rid of your go again. But he also has this really good attacks other than his key ones, like Boulder Drop, which says if they deal 4 more damage to a hero, put a card from their hand on top of their deck. Basically, you lose a card. Debilitate makes your first attack for 2 less, which is very significant. All types of little things. Then he also has access to stuff like Pummel and Tear Asunder. It's just a very, very disruptive hero. So number one key to Bravo, and some people might disagree with me, is you need to make Bravo interact with you at all times. You cannot just Arsenal pass against a Bravo or be like, okay, I'm going to try to set up a turn against a Bravo and allow him to try to keep 3 to 4 cards if you can help it. You really just can't. It doesn't work that way. There's times like some decks that I'm playing against, like it's just a random situation. Let's say I have a blue in hand, Kadachi's, or no, blue in hand, a Fluster Fist, and a Be Like Water, right? I may start with Be Like Water to see if they'll block it. Bravo blocks it. I Kadachi. Some people might Arsenal the Fluster Fist because you're not going to be able to pop it anyway, or it doesn't matter. You're going to get Arsenal. And then try to set up for a big 5-card hand with a good Fluster Fist. Me personally, I'm throwing that Fluster Fist out because I want to, A, threaten mass, but B, I want to force the Bravo to continuously interact with me if at all possible. I'll play lines sometimes that I know the Bravo has a good chance of blocking out, but I'm forcing him to block because, again, I need to play for my outs. I cannot let Bravo hold a 4-card hand and just crush me to death, because the second that Bravo stops respecting your attacks is the second you lose. That's just how it is. Obviously, the situation dictates. There might be things that are different, right? But for me, like, for example, if Bravo lets Surging Strike hit, some people might want to just go get Descendant Gust Wave because you're going to be able to go into the Dishonor line or something like that, whatever. I want to normally get whelming gust wave early. I want to force him to give up his equipment as much as I possibly can early game and force him to interact with me because I'm threatening those on-hit effects, right? Not just sheer damage. You do want to push damage when you can against Bravo, though. You want to chip. You want to keep the life totals as even as you possibly can. And again, keep applying that consistent pressure. That sounds very like no shit, like, okay, to throw damage at Bravo, yes, but no, you want to make it as annoying. It's similar to Uziri. You want to make it as annoying as possible for the Bravo to where he has to block you and respect your attacks for as long as humanly possible. Another reason that Bravo is so hard is equipment. Bravo starts at 40 health, but really, Bravo, let's just say he's not running sigils. Let's say you're lucky he's not running sigils. Bravo technically starts at 40 health plus his 2 health from Crown Province, that's 42. His 3 total block from Tectonic Plane, that's 45. 3 total block from Crater Fist, that's 48. And 3 total block from Civic Steps, that's 51. Technically, Bravo has 51 life to play with in his deck. So you have to apply pressure as quickly as possible early and really try to force awkward breakpoints late in the chain in order to punish him and force him to give up equipment. There's certain heroes where you present damage early in the chain and as a Katsu, and there's certain heroes where you present damage late in the chain. I talk about this in my recap video where I went over my stream game. Let's say a matchup like Phi or Lexi. I want to present damage as early as possible in the chain because I want to force that person to make a decision early because they don't block well or they don't want to block, right? So I want to put that onus on them very quickly. Also with Icelander, I like to force damage early in the chain because I want to force them to have to disrupt me or block me early. Someone like Bravo, they're going to block well. So you forcing significant damage early in the chain and potentially giving up a lot of resources for it, you're just screwing yourself, in my opinion, right? If you notice in the Bravo stream game a lot, I Kadachi first, and then I Surging Strike. Now, some people would say it's wrong because they're just going to block the Surging Strike. No, I'm trying to A, chip in a little bit at the beginning, but B, wait as long as I possibly can to play my big pieces to A, force a little bit of damage early, but B, be able to punish them later in the chain. You'll also notice in that game a lot of times I'll play like small attacks at the beginning and then try to end with a Fluster Fist or end with a big attack at the end of an Enlightened Strike or something like that in order to say, okay, Bravo, you've already blocked with 3 to 5 or 1 to 2 cards from hand to try to prevent my on hits. Now I'm going to hit you with an Enlightened Strike for 7. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep the last 2 cards in your hand? Are you just going to give me them? Or are you going to block with maybe 1 card and a piece of equipment? Or are you just going to block with 2 pieces of equipment? There was one key turn in that game very late where I presented a lot of damage late in the chain, and I finally forced Cody to be able to block with 2 pieces of equipment because he was trying to hold 2 cards so he could swing his hammer or play an attack. I forgot exactly what it was. But you want to push damage late in the chain for early on in the game for a couple of reasons. 1, you can force out their equipment faster, and 2, you can punish them because what they're going to try to do is value block you early in the chain and then hold cards late in the chain in order to swing back at you. So that's when you want to force those big damage pieces late in the chain. So how do we give ourselves time to do that? How do we play for outs? Now, this is going to be a little bit build dependent. I am naturally a very defensive Katsu. Not Turtle Katsu by any means, but I don't play Art of War. I don't play like Spinning Wheel Kick. I don't play like a bunch of this stuff. I play a lot of 3 blocks, a lot of D-reacts. In my sideboard, I have 3 reinforced currently right now. At the time of that video in the Calling Dallas, I had 2 reinforced lines, Sync Blows, and Flick Flacks in my sideboard. I put them all in against Bravo. I'm running 65 to 68 cards against Bravo. It doesn't matter as much if you clunk up your hand a little bit with D-reacts, because you're going to need them against Bravo anyway. Now, you have to be careful. Reinforced line is honestly, your big winner because Bravo can command and conquer you when you have a D-React and Arsenal, which is exactly what happened to me during that game. But you want to use these as much as possible to hurt Bravo's ability to hurt you with crush effects. Again, play for your outs. Don't just go unga bunga and try to erase him. You probably are going to lose because he's going to crush you to death and eventually take tempo. You have to know when to block and when not to, when to value block, how to maneuver your hands, and then still present damage, right? When it comes to presenting damage, some people might disagree with this, but let's just say I have a Flick Flack in Arsenal, and then I have a 3 card. Let's say I have 3 cards left in hand, and it's a Be Like Water, or 4 cards. Be Like Water, a blue, a reinforced line, and a 3 block. right? What I might end up doing if they swing like Crippling Crush at me, some people might be tempted to just, block with one piece of equipment, the 3 block, and then reinforce the line for 8, keep the D-react, whatever it may be. You could do that. I like to block it all out, and then if all I have left is a blue and a Be Like Water, some people will be very tempted to just Kadachi pass and Arsenal to Be Like Water for a setup turn, but again, you're not forcing interaction with the Bravo like you need to be. I personally will go Kadachi, Be Like Water. Even though I know 1,000% they are going to block that attack, I need to force at least one card out of their hand. Forcing one card out of a Bravo's hand can mean the difference between getting dominated and not getting dominated. And sometimes it's not efficient card usage, but if I sneak 2 damage in and I strip a card from their hand, I've done my job. I can maybe live another turn. I can play for my outs, right? That's just the way I do it. Personally, when it comes to deck building, again, I go 65 to 68 cards. Go back and watch the other video. I'll link it down below if I remember to at this point. But yeah, that's the couple key principles with Bravo is force damage late in the chain, early in the game, so you can force out their equipment blocks quickly if you can. Don't be afraid to block. I know it sounds really weird, but don't be afraid to be a little bit defensive. Don't be afraid to play for your outs. And the third tip, and the biggest tip to me, is always look to force interaction. If you absolutely think you need to set up a turn and arsenal that card, go ahead and do it. Roll the dice. But if you let that Bravo keep a 4-card hand with maybe one arsenal, you're probably going to get smacked. But me personally, I like to push the envelope a little bit. I like to force at least one card out of their hand at all times, make them play on 3-card hands, and then be able to hopefully stay alive long enough to win the game. I think Bravo is not favored by any means, but it definitely is winnable. It's actually more winnable than you think, especially if you run cards like that you see pictured here. But overall, I'm pretty confident in Bravo. I've been playing Bravo a lot. I still think it's not favored, but I'm confident in the matchup and what I need to do to win it, and so on and so forth. Now, the last thing I'll say is this is also build dependent. I don't run Art of Wars, right? And I also run the Lord of Wind line, which can change your thought process a little bit as well with what you block with, because you can go get those threats back hopefully eventually. So my build might run a little bit different than yours, so keep that in mind. Also, as I'm talking in general Katsu, not in Crouching Tiger Katsu. So hopefully this helped. For Bravo specifically, definitely go back to my stream video and watch my analysis. I think that will really help you out and be able to give you a little bit more agency in the matchup. It's not perfect by any means. I'm sure there's plays I misplayed on. I'm sure there's plays Cody misplayed on. That's how Flesh and Blood works, right? You're not perfect all the time. But overall, I felt like it was a pretty good representation of how to be able to play for your outs and win the game. So if you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully this helped. Bravo is literally the hardest one to do because it is so much like hand by hand. Like the best way for me to show or teach someone how to play against Bravo is I would sit down beside you and watch every hand you have and talk through it. That's like the best way against him. But regardless, some of these key principles will be able to help you a little bit and be able to hopefully give you a better chance at winning in the matchup. But if you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go into our Flesh and Blood career, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TC Talk. Thank y'all so much.